I wanted to make it very clear to those who are not in the loop that when it comes to the GC movement, y'all don't call out your own. You got your leaders like KJK and Ollie London just feeding the LGBT to the meat grinder. You want to take away the rights, first with trans people, then you're going to go to the bi and the G, and then eventually the L. It all eventually gets fed to the meat grinder. That is how the LGBT gay pipeline works. And it drags people in through the gender critical route. But at the end of the day, you have the religious right who conspired with leaders in the gender critical movement to push people to funnel LGBT people into the ex-gay movement. And I said something and I got shit on for it. So I'm done with them. There are consequences to our actions. Okay? There's consequences when you say that you care about these dysphoric children and you want to help them and you want to prevent them from thinking that they're just going to be ugly and they have to get all these surgeries and transition super young to the point it can hurt them. Okay, let's get this over with. Some of you may know by now that something's up. If you haven't unfollowed me still and you're still watching this, now I'm a troll again, right? Like I predicted, there was going to be consequences to my actions. There's consequences to our actions, guys. There's consequences when I had my freak out and I was the most hated person on the internet for a year, arguably 2 years, okay? There's consequences. There was consequences when I decided to step outside my comfort zone, learn from some people, and challenge some things in my own community that I said they were hurting us. Challenge that. I knew there was going to be consequences. I did it anyways because I thought it was the right thing to do. Okay? And then I tried to be very patient and in good faith, try to get people to understand where I was coming from. Not because I wanted them to like me so much, as I just know that the hate is not just end with me. This affects a lot of people, right? So put myself through some danger to try to help other people. I knew it would hurt myself, but I got very into the role. I got in too deep. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it was all planned. I planned to go into Kiwi Farms to try to take them down, right? But then what I learned was it was something much bigger than that. That they're just, a website, they're edgy, they're funny and interesting threads, and we might or might not like them, but it's their freedom of speech, right? But what I'm seeing is the rot of bigotry. And you can go try it out for yourself. You can sign up with the people who are constantly gender critical, always criticizing us, our lives under a microscope. We have to be perfect, upstanding citizens, because even though we are the poorest fucking demographic, we're all like movie celebrities, these guys. They talk about as like the tabloids. They're obsessed. And for some of them, it's trauma. For some of them, it seems to be like a sexual thing, I swear. And when I say that Nazi transvestites is a thing and that all Nazis are actually degenerates and that's why they're obsessed with degeneracy, I mean that. And I've seen that from inside now. So you guys can go and fuck around with polite bigots who are polite about their hatred for trans people, or you just take your word from me. I spent 2 years talking to these people. I made friendships with them that I'm currently intentionally sabotaging, because if you can't see past this dogmatic shit and care about me as a person, then why do I need you in my life? With friends like you, who needs enemies? Sus bigots who act like they're perfect, who are a bunch of narcissists who are fake as fuck. And I don't have to regurgitate anything you tell me to say. That's the beauty of free speech rather than compelled speech. If you come up to my friends and you rudely barge in to tell us that we're men and that we're ugly and we should feel bad about ourselves and everything, guess what? We can tell you to fuck off. That's how free speech works. And we can continue to refer to each other with the pronouns that we prefer. And You could stay mad. You could stay mad about it for eternity. And it's just so funny to me because I know that you will. Some of these GCs are, there's people getting sucked in. There's people in the middle or there's people who just have criticisms, or there's people who, people who were burned by the community. And there's people who just like shitposting and funny stuff, right? And I said something. I've been saying something. Again, there's consequences to our actions. You GCs that, I said very politely, I tried to say it with good optics, carefully, connect to people, say, hey, there's a lot of things I'm in favor of, but I don't like how you put on a pedestal some of these bigots, I came into this is very heated, very hot button part of it because I actually care about these kids. These dysphoric kids who have a medical condition. Okay? I care for their well-being. I care for them in life. I wanted to fight back against how the community seems to funnel these young people into this pipeline where they believe that they'll never be good enough unless they undermine their endocrine system or butcher themselves up with surgery. You're never good enough because you're never passing enough. And that is very regressive, and I think that's the root of the problem. It's not just about painting your opposition as a predator. You have people who are suffering a medical condition. But, these bigots will on one hand say that they don't believe in dysphoria and that we're lying, but they intentionally use our dysphoria to manipulate and trigger us and try to fuck with our mental health. They do it very much on purpose, and they're very much full of shit. Okay? At the end of the day, they just don't like trans people. Okay? That's all it is. They don't care about these kids. All right? Because you'll never be pure enough. Even if you're against transitioning minors, okay? They will, at the end of the day, the only way you can prove you're pure enough is if you detransition and advocate that every other trans person does. And you dedicate, that's your life. Because that's what these people's lives are. And half of them aren't even trans. It is such loser shit. Like, this is the most neat fucking community, is the GC community. It's like worse than the trans activists. Because at least the trans activists, they party, they have fun, they have sex. These are like the fucking fun police. Let's be real. Like, these are the fun police. They suck. They suck ass. I've been fucking with these people for 2 years. And it's not even just the edgy shit posts. Like, come on, you guys. You think I'm going to just change my personality and be all, like, PC and shit? I'll never be pure enough to be in the very woke, scoldy, purity testing, traw cult that I was in. But if you think that I'm going to keep sabotaging my own rights and the rights of people like me, you got something else coming, because I'm done. We're done. There's consequences to your actions, and GCs, we need a divorce. We're done. I'm not supporting you. I'm not supporting your lies. I'm not supporting your attacks on trans people. I want safeguarding for these dysphoric kids so that they don't have to deal with big bigot bullies like you. And I want their care to be between the families and doctors and themselves. Nothing to do with you bigots. Because all you want to do is cause them pain. And that's all you want to do. So that's why I'm done with you. That's why I'm pushing you away. I don't want you to be in my inner circles. Okay? I have no use for having literal TERFs and Nazis following me around, shitting on me, trying to bring me down, trying to bring my friends down, saying this shit. They suck you in with points that make logical sense. They'll suck you in, right, with one thing. And unfortunately, this is something we got to change on the trans community side, right? That's what I'm saying. I can't ever be pure enough to be a trans activist again. We have to stop being like that. That's so self-sabotaging. You are doing this thought policing and trying to compel everyone's speech. You push us all away, and that is what the peaking cult looks for. And so these predators look for somebody, they look for a dysphoric, a person with a medical condition who's suffering, who's a minority, and they pick on them and chip at their mental health, chip at their sense of self, and try to abduct them into the peaking cult so they can make you a detransitioner or get you to unalive. And they will do this to minors who are dysphoric. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about these kids. Okay? They don't. They don't care about the trans adults. And at the end of the day, their whole agenda, it's always going to come down to, at the end of the day, that we can't have our trans joy, we can't be happy, okay? And that we always have to feel guilty and apologize. That's why I'm not apologizing anymore for anything. Fuck you, GCs. I'm not apologizing for anything anymore. I have been apologizing enough. And I've done good for myself, and I did that. It's not because you treated me like shit that I got my life together. It's because I did it. And I didn't need you. I used you. I used you for intel, and I found out a lot of shit. I know a lot of dirt on the anti-trans side, okay? So you guys want to talk about groomers, you want to talk about indoctrinating people, look at yourselves. Look at the religious right. Look at these GCs and TERFs that suck people in who are just hurt or have a medical condition, and you try to take away everything in their life that makes them happy. You try to make them feel miserable about their transition when they don't even need to. Because you're a piece of shit. Because you're a fucking bigot. You want to push laws that force us to wear gendered clothing. You want to send all non-cishet people to conversion therapy. So we could sit here and have this friendly little debate about all the topics, but at the end of the day, you take all these cringe trans people, right? People who are going through mental health struggles who come out cringy, right? It's not the worst thing you can be. And you got people who are literally like predators on the right, pointing to them and being like, see. Narcissistic people trying to all start up, like trying to get power, trying to start cults. There's a lot of people at the end of the day, they just hate us. That's the only reason that they do this. And they'll try to act like, oh, they have these justified reasons. It's always bullshit. And their spaghetti logic that they compile to try to convince us that it's justified. Like, they're just bigots. Like, this is the same bullshit that Nazis did. This is the same shit. These people, like, look, like, yeah, sure, there's some problems with the community. But one thing that I learned over these past couple of years is you can't throw away your friends for people who lie to you and say that your friends are these evil people and try to demonize you. You can't do that because you're going to suffer some serious consequences. So on that same note, if you're going to support bigots who want to force like gendered clothing on us, and you want to ban transition for everyone, or if you just want to make transition more difficult for adults who reasonably should transition and there's no real reason why they shouldn't, you're just an asshole making our life harder. You know, I mean, especially like M to F, like the more years that we are, you know, naturally receiving testosterone, the more years that we have permanent things that we have to get surgery to undo. So you want to move it up to 25. Well, hey, you know what? Like, that made me think of something. You know, I transitioned at 21. I'm really glad I did. I'm happy with how I am. My life would have been different if I hadn't. And I don't think it would have been helpful for me to just live with a secret. You lie to us. You say that you don't believe in dysphoria, but you obviously try to target our dysphoria. You claim that all men are predators and you can't trust us, right? Because we're men. But then to us, you'll be like, oh, well, just go in the men's bathroom. Like, they'll never hurt you. Whatever happened to all men are bad, right? You freaking just hate men at the end of the day. And here's the funniest part, is like, I'm getting canceled by a lot of the GC too for some of the things I've said. Here's my offenses. Saying that I'm on Team Trans and not like telling them just basically to fuck off when they're like, well, just admit you're a man. And it's like, you know, I could do this. I could put like a t-shirt that says like I'm a man and go around posing in front of urinals all day saying that I'm a man. It's never good enough. And that's the point I'm getting at. You know, they will not stop until we just comply with all their demands. There's no compromise with these people. And at the end of the day, like, we could all talk shit online, people could grift, people say this and that. At the end of the day, I'm out here, I work jobs, I make money, I get respect from people, and you can't take that away from me. You could try, and that's what I'm up against here. And so that's why I'm coming back to support, you know, people in the trans community. I'm not gonna be so, like, uptight about labels and validation. Like, I don't care. Like I said, I'd rather be, okay? So here's the thing, I would rather be around cringy people with made up gender identities and all that. They could be like helicopter gender for real and be serious. I would rather be around someone like that who was at least serious about, like, you know, protecting medical transition, making sure that dysphorics can get their medical needs, and who are okay with gatekeeping predators out of the community. Rather hang out with someone that they're a little cringy or whatever, or maybe they, you know, they had a freak out one time or something. I'd rather hang out with someone like that than somebody who's just polite and narcissistic and acts like they're perfect and wants to sit there and make all these judgments on my life and people like me, our life, and tell us what to do. I'm just done with it. You need to mind your own business. You need to stop telling us how to live our lives and just sitting here, you sit here on the internet, on meth all day, 24/7 talking about us. Get a fucking life, okay? And you know what, like, it's, I've called out my community quite a bit, okay? All right, and I told you there was problems in your community, and you wouldn't listen to me, so the consequences is now you've lost me. Why don't you fucking GCs, if you actually care about any of us and you're not just a fucking bigot, why don't you clean house? Because I don't think you will. Then I'm not saying there's not good people in the GC who aren't trying to do it, but I think ultimately this movement is doomed to be basically just a front for bigots, and that's all it will ever be. So if you want to stay, you know, supporting these bigots and shit, fine, go ahead. But I care about trans people way more than you ever will. Okay? And so that's why I put myself through all this shit. I did it for them. And now that I'm walking away from the gender critical movement, I'm doing that shit for me. And I know some of you bigots are going to be mad about what I said in this video about the whole trans kid thing, but what it comes down to is that I actually want these kids to try to get to adulthood and not die. I would prefer if they didn't think that they have to transition super young and feel pressured into that, but you're not helping them and you don't want to help them. The thing is that you say that you just care so much about them that you're going to make transition illegal and go after everybody just to stop this. So if we give you this one thing, you're going to give in. It's a lie, and you know it. You're full of shit. You just want an excuse to be complete transphobic bigots in a time where it's very fashionable and convenient. It's really cringe. You don't have any nuance. You're just like a brainlet. So, like, really, at the end of the day, shame on people who can't understand the nuance of this video. And shame on y'all who are doing just purity spiraling, the same shit that pushed me into you guys. But I'm done, you know, I'm really just done being patient. And I've been so patient, hoping in good faith that people would understand. And I just come to learn myself that there's no middle ground. When it comes to, you have a goal of you want to make our existence illegal, you want to institutionalize us, you want to dig into our lives, take away everything good in our lives. You want to take away our transitions, you want to take away our friendships, you want us to feel bad about ourselves 24/7, you want to take us away from our jobs, you want to make it so that we have to struggle and suffer because you just hate trans people. At the end of the day, okay, like, I know there's like a lot of little things that I said and did in all these videos and everything that this kind of goes at odds with that. But that's the thing, is it's that one thing at the end of the day, they want to take it all away from us. And I'm not going to sit back and watch that happen, even if I have to get a little messy.